This quiz, this EVA, I hope, review of graphing lines. This is slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where our b is the y-intercept, and the coefficient of x is our slope. Okay, number one, we are in slope-intercept form already. So my y-intercept, -4. My slope, which is the coefficient of x, is 3. Slope, we like to put in a fraction, 3 over 1, or -3 over -1. Don't know which one I'm going to need. So let's go ahead and plot these 2 points. I'm sorry, plot the y-intercept, -4. Then we're going to use the slope to get the other points. I'm going to use +1. So up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, up 1, 2, 3, to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1, and I'm going to use a straight edge. So Mr. D doesn't get upset when he goes to grade these and start using unusual language. Okay, slope intercept form. Questions? Number 3. This is standard form where I have ax plus by equals some constant c. And this is where we have to find the 2 different intercepts. To find the x-intercept, I set my y equal to 0 and substitute it in. So I have 2x minus 0 equals -3. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. So my x equals -3/2, or you could use the ordered pair, -3/2, comma 0, whichever one you prefer. So -1.5, -1.5, comma 0. Then we have to find the y-intercept. Yes, one.
Where did the C come from with the coordinate pair -2 to 0?
Where did the what come from?
0. Why is that 0? I'm tired. I'm sorry. I don't understand.
All right, so what's the question?
Okay. Coordinate pair -2 over 2, comma 0. Where is the 0 coming from?
That's my y value,
Okay.
0.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, y-intercept. I'm setting my x equal to 0. Okay, so then I've got 2 times 0 minus y equals -3. Justin did it.
No. Thank you. Yeah, he did.
Oh, no, Caleb did. So your best friend tipped your chair over. Just want you to know that. Okay, this is 0. We don't have to deal with that. I'm going to divide both sides by -1. So y equals +3, or the point 0, comma 3, whichever one you want to use. Yes, sir.
Isn't it -3 halves? You did
Yeah, -3/2, right? Did I screw it up?
on X, you did like everything going -2.
Yeah, negative 2 halves, negative 3 halves,
Oh,
or negative 1.5, however you want to think about it. All right, 0, comma 3, 0, comma 3. There's my other point. And I'm going to use a straight edge, especially since I only have 2 points. Otherwise, Mr. D might look at your ugly lines if you don't use a straight edge and just give you an F to have an ugly line.
I did not realize this was art class.
Uh, you guys come up with some really creative lines. Trust me.
Well, hey, I mean, as long as it passes through the two dots, it's technically still line. Just goes into goals.
All right. Okay, then we did systems of equations, right? Where we have to solve using one of the three methods, either graphing, substitution, or elimination. You must follow the directions. And then once we solve them, you have to decide which scenario it goes into, whether it's intersecting lines, parallel lines, or infinitely many solutions the same line, right? Okay, the first equation, x equal 3. Now, if you don't remember what x equal 3 is, does anybody remember what x equal 3, what kind of line? Close.
vertical.
Vertical, right? It's a vertical line at x equal 3. So here's x, there's 3. So x equal 3 is a vertical line. Now, if you don't remember that it's which one's vertical, which one's horizontal, just plot some points. Well, I know x is 3. I'm just going to choose anything for y. I don't know, choose 1. Next point, x has to be 3. I'm going to choose a different point for y, 2. Maybe even a third point, x is 3. I'm going to choose a different one for y, that's 3. And plot them. 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3. And then you'll see which line it is. Okay, the bottom one. Now, I could do the x, this is in standard form, right? I could do the whole x-intercept and the y-intercept. But I'm going to go ahead and change it to standard slope-intercept form because I like graphing lines in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to take x minus 3y equal negative 9, and I'm going to change it to slope-intercept form. Or in other words, I'm going to isolate that y. Because I'm just a crazy math guy. So I'm going to subtract x. I get negative 3y equals negative x minus 9. Divide every term by negative 3. So I get y equals, now there's a 1 there, right? So negative 1 over negative 3 is the coefficient of x. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is going to be a positive 3. My y-intercept is positive 3. My slope, negative 1 over negative 3, or positive 1 over positive 3. Okay, let's graph the line. Y-intercept 3. Let's go up one and to the right three because that's where they're going to intersect. I might put a couple of points just to get a more accurate line. Going to use a straight edge so Mr. D doesn't give me an F for being. Now, so they intersect at one point, right? There's 3 comma 4. And you must write down the solution. Now, I could have gone ahead and used x and y intercepts to draw this line, but look where this x intercept would have been, probably off the paper, right? If I would have used the x and y intercept, chances are this point would have been hard to find. So if this happens to you, go back and do the solve for y. Put it in slope intercept form. Questions? All right. As Bob Seeger would say, turn the page. All right, number 7. It says I have to solve by substitution. When you solve by substitution, you're looking for an isolated variable. Hopefully, there's one there already, like number 7. Otherwise, you have to solve for a variable and always look for a coefficient of 1. If there's no coefficient of 1, then you got some work to do to put it in y slope intercept form. Or actually, it doesn't matter whichever variable you choose. All right. So in number 7, I have y solved for in the top one. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute it in the bottom one. So I have negative 7x minus 4. I need parentheses for the substitution of that y equal 13. That substitution of y is negative 7x minus 19. I'm going to have to distribute that negative 4 over the parentheses. So I get negative 7x, negative 4 times negative 7x, positive 28x. Negative 4 times negative 19 is a positive 73. No, 76. You guys would know better because you grabbed the calculators as you came into the room. Come on, combine like terms. Negative 7x plus 28x is a positive 21x. Subtract 76 from both sides. I get 21x equals a negative 63. Divide by 21. So x is going to equal negative 3. So I know this is going to intersect at one point when the x is negative 3. So I have to go back and find y. See, I'm going to choose the top equation. Y equals negative 7. I have the value for x. I'm going to substitute in. So I'm going to use parentheses minus 19 That value for x, -3. -7 times -3 is a positive 21, minus 19. So y is going to equal 2. Are you guys having fun yet?
So much booze and my heart can barely contain itself for the joy of this.
Don't you wish you could do this for the third or fourth time? All right, number 9, by elimination. Again, the way that you're going to do this is when you add the two equations together, you're going to eliminate one of the variables. If we add those two equations together, will we eliminate one of the variables? Why, no, Mr. D. We're going to have to multiply one or maybe both of the equations by a number, maybe by an opposite number. Really? Well, which one do you want to multiply by?
None of the above.
The bottom one. -2. Okay, I need to distribute to each term inside the parentheses, including the 7. -2 times -9x. By the way, how did you know? Why did you pick the second one? Because it's easy. Because nine's a factor of 18, right? If you would have picked the y's, you would have had to multiply both equations. So good choice. All right, -2 times -9x is a positive 18x. -2 times -2y is a positive 4y. -2 times 7 is a -14. And then go ahead and just bring down that top equation. -18x plus 7y equals 25. Now, when I add the two equations together, one of the variables eliminates. Okay, 4y plus a positive 7y is a positive 11y. -14 plus 25 is a positive 11. Divide by 11, and y is going to equal 1.
We should play Uno in this class sometime.
1.
We should have an Uno day.
Trust me, I'd rather play Uno.
Well, why don't you? I mean, you could type in the probability and statistics.
You know, when you're doing the quiz tomorrow, maybe Mrs. Meyer and myself will play Uno.
Sounds fun. Only if you let us play if we finish in time though.
How about if you all get a good grade on the small points?
Yeah, if it'll pass, we get an Uno day. Every time we take
That
it.
would be awesome. All right, pick an equation. I'm going to pick the bottom one. Numbers seem a little smaller. See, I know what y is, so when I get to the y, I'm going to put parentheses in for the substitution. And the y equals 1. So I have -9x minus 2 equals 7. Add 2. Add 2. I get -9x equals 9. Oh, look at how nice this worked out. Divide by -9. So my x is going to equal -1. There's my answer. Okay, so that's all the new stuff that's going to be on the quiz tomorrow. So technically, when you turn this in tomorrow as part of your homework check, you will only have required to do one, two, three, four, five problems. Okay. Now, if you want to do some retaking here, this is compound inequality. So this was we're going to have a retake on 1.5 part 2. And this was a retake on absolute value inequality. Looks like you guys don't like inequalities.
Who does?
1.6 parts. Actually, inequalities represent more real life situations than equations. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do four more of these. If you're not going to do the retakes, you could start working on your five problems.
Mr. Dean, are
Yes.
you ever going to do a Kahoot?
Am I ever going to do what?
A Kahoot.
A, a,
Kahoot. Do you not know what that is?
bless you.
Huh?
Did you sneeze?
No, a Kahoot. Do you
Bless
not
you.
know what that is?
Huh?
Okay. I will take that as
All
a
right, number 11. This is a compound inequality because it deals with two inequalities. It just happens to be sandwiched together or squished. So this is an and statement because it's sandwich, right? Oh, I like Mrs. Abruzzo's and Mrs. Myers' terminology. All right, so we have to solve these separately. And when you're solving these separately, when they're squished or sandwiched, you have to work from the inside out. I have to solve and get x by itself. So I'm going to add 5. There's the middle. Then work yourself out. Add 5 here. Add 5 here. Okay, these cancel. Bring down my 6x. Go out to your sides. 43 plus 5 is 48. We're adding, so keep the sign. Negative 59 plus 5 is negative 54. Keep the sign. Okay, go back to the middle. Let's see. We're going to divide by a positive 6. So work yourselves out to the sides. Divide by positive 6. Divide by positive 6. So I have my x. Let's see. Negative 54 divided by 6 is negative 9. Keep the sign, even though it was a negative number on top. We divide it by a positive. 48 divided by 6 is 8. There's my solution or inequality statement. It's an and, so it's going to be in between. We're going to shade in between, right? Whether it's a parenthesis or bracket, we're going to shade in between. Okay, draw a number line. And we're going to use the lower number negative 9, the upper number 8. It's an and. I know we're going to shade in between. Did I miss an equal sign? Yeah. Should be one here, one here. Okay, negative 9 gets a parenthesis because there's no equal sign. The 8 does get a parenthesis. I'm sorry, bracket because it has an equal sign. Interval notation, parenthesis, negative 9, comma, 8, bracket. $13. Questions on thus far? 13 is an or statement, so they're going to go out like boat oars, right? To their infinities, negative infinity, positive infinity, and it's going to have a parenthesis or bracket, and the little union symbol. All right, you ready? Let's see. I have two inequalities to solve. I'm going to subtract 3, subtract 3. I have negative 9m is greater than or equal to 75 minus 3 is 72. Divide by negative 9. Now this time I'm dividing by a negative number, so I have to flip that inequality sign. 72 divided by negative 9 is negative 8. Or solve the other inequality. See, add 2, add 2. I get 2m, bless you, 6 divided by 2. So I get m is greater than 3. Draw my number line. Smaller one is negative 8. Larger one is 3. They're going to go out to their respective infinities. And this one gets a bracket because it's got an equal sign. This one gets a parenthesis. So our notations, parenthesis, negative infinity, comma, negative 8, bracket, union, parenthesis, 3, and then infinity. Boy, was that fun. Questions on 11 and 13? Okay. As Bob Seger would say, turn the page. And we have absolute value inequalities. Absolute value inequalities, always make sure the absolute value symbols are isolated. This is a less than, so it's an and statement. Go ahead and separate it if the absolute value bars are isolated. Take what's inside, 4n plus 9. I like to begin with the negatives signs. So I'm going to go ahead and use negative 21, going from a positive to a negative. I'm going to flip the sign. It's an and statement. So I'm going to take what's inside, 4n plus 9 is less than 21. Solve each one of those. See, subtract 9, subtract 9. I get 4n is greater than negative 30. Divide by positive 4. Keep the sign. I get n is greater than negative 34 can be reduced to negative 15 halves. Solve the other inequality. Subtract 9, subtract 9. So you have 4n is less than 12. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. See, n is going to be less than 3. Graphic. Small one is negative 15 halves. Larger one is 3. It's an and statement. Therefore, I know it's going to be in between. No equal signs. So we have parentheses. Interval, negative 15 halves. 3 parentheses. Piece of cake. And the last one I'm doing. You know what? Let's do 18. Because I did an and problem already. I want to do an or. I have to isolate the absolute value bars. So I have to add 6, first of all. So I get the absolute value of 7 plus x is greater than or equal to 11. Now, these I can no longer use. Okay, split them up. I know it's an or problem now because it's a greater than. Split them up. I have my 7 plus x. I like to put my negatives first, so I'm going to use negative 11, which means I have to flip my sign. We determined it was an or statement. Take my 7 plus x and keep what's there greater than or equal to 11. Solve each one of these. Subtract 7. Subtract 7. X is going to be less than or equal to negative 18, or subtract 7, subtract 7. X is going to be greater than or equal to 4. Graph it. Smaller numbers, negative 18. Larger number is 4. It's an OR problem, so I know they're going to go off to their respective infinities. Let's see, this one gets a bracket because it has an equal sign. This one also gets a bracket because of the equal sign. So I have negative infinity, negative 18, bracket. Got to put in my union symbol for the space. Bracket for positive infinity. I get a break until 6th hour. Questions, comments?